A desperate man signs his sick wife up for a monthly subscription-based treatment to save her life. But when the payment plans suddenly change, he's forced to do whatever it takes to keep her alive. One morning, the married couple, Mike and Amanda, wake up to a phone notification reminding them that it's their third wedding anniversary. She jokes, asking what happened to them since they looked happier in the photo, and Mike laughs, saying it's all her fault, which makes her laugh too. You're watching CineDigest, and this is Movie Recapped. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more awesome stories. That same day, science teacher Amanda calls on her student Tisha to answer a question in class. After the bell rings and most students leave, she notices Ava standing by her desk. Amanda asks if she's okay, and the girl admits Tisha laughed at her shoes because they're hand-me-downs from her sister. When she says her parents can't afford new ones, Amanda cheers her up by saying they're vintage, not old. A little later, her coworker Angie walks in and asks if she wants to grab a drink after work. As they leave the school, Amanda points to her husband in the parking garage and explains she can't because they're celebrating their anniversary. Angie asks Mike where he's taking his wife, and he says they're spending the weekend where they got married 3 years ago. Not long after, the couple arrives at the Swiss Mountain Juniper Hotel before dark. Minutes later, they're having dinner at the restaurant while listening to an elderly couple singing to the guests. After an intimate moment in the room, Amanda lifts her knees to her chest and slowly rocks her body. Mike asks what she's doing, and she explains it increases the chances of conception after sex, hinting they've been trying for a while. Suddenly, Amanda winces in pain and says she has another headache, hinting that they've become frequent. Mike reaches for the pill bottle on the nightstand and hands it to her. Days later, a frustrated Amanda tells him she got her period, meaning another failed attempt at getting pregnant. She wonders if they jinxed themselves by buying a crib too early. He reassures her and tells her to keep believing she'll get pregnant soon. At work, Mike, who's a welder, gets called by his boss and told to find his lazy coworker. In the trailer, he finds Shane sitting at a computer and tells him to get back to work. Shane says he just paid someone to do something on a trash streaming site called Dumb Dummies. Mike says he's never heard of it. Shane explains that desperate people live-stream themselves doing humiliating things for money and shows him a man on screen drinking his own bodily fluids for $20. Mike is disgusted and tells him not to use the work computer for that crap. At the same time, Amanda collapses unconscious in the middle of class, shocking the students. A coworker tells Mike his wife was taken to the hospital, and he immediately runs from the warehouse. The doctor tells Mike they found a tumor in Amanda's brain with no easy solution, especially since it's fused to the parietal lobe. Mike asks if she'll be okay, but the doctor says the outlook is bad and she may never wake up. However, he mentions an experimental procedure offered by a tech startup and warns that it's risky. He says he can't personally recommend it, but offers to call a company representative. Soon after, Mike meets Gaynor, a rep from Rivermind Technologies. She explains they'll take an imprint from the affected neural structure and clone it onto the main server, basically backing up part of Amanda's brain to a computer. She adds they'll remove the tumor and surrounding tissue, replace it with synthetic receiver tissue, then stream the cognitive functions back from the cloud through the Rivermind system. Skeptical, Mike asks if it's been tested. Gaynor says she survived a horrific accident 18 months ago and was one of Rivermind's first users, and that she's mentally and physically normal, with her kids backing it up. When she finds out they're trying to have a baby, she tells Mike enrolling Amanda will buy them more time to achieve their family dream. Before deciding, she warns him Amanda will sleep 2 to 4 extra hours a day as the company balances server load. She adds Amanda must stay within coverage range, currently statewide, but soon nationwide and global. Mike asks about the cost. She says the surgery is free and the monthly subscription is $300. Days later, Amanda wakes up after the successful procedure, and Mike is relieved and happy. On the drive home, Amanda learns they need $300 a month for her to stay alive. Mike reassures her he'll work extra shifts and cut expenses, even canceling their Ireland trip to visit his dad, since Rivermind won't be available there anytime soon. In the following weeks, Mike logs more overtime hours. One night, he comes home exhausted and reaches for a cold beer, but Amanda asks him to ease up since they can't buy more until payday, so he puts it back. At work, Shane shows him a live stream of someone pulling out a tooth and swallowing it. Months later, Mike notices Amanda is sleeping more than the promised 2 to 4 extra hours. A week before their anniversary, Amanda forgets about it and admits she didn't plan anything. Mike says it's fine because he booked Juniper Lodge and she pretends to be excited. On the drive to the mountains, she points out how exhausted he looks from working extra, and he snaps that there's no choice since she can't work. She gets upset and reminds him that the sleeping isn't her fault. He apologizes immediately, and she suggests canceling the trip to save money. In the middle of the argument, Amanda has a seizure and loses consciousness. Mike panics and turns the car back toward the hospital, but she wakes up with no memory of it. The next day, they meet Gaynor, who explains it wasn't a malfunction, just going out of coverage due to tower updates. She then reveals a new Rivermind Plus plan with nationwide coverage, costing $500 on top of the $300, totaling $800 a month. Amanda says they can't afford it, so Gaynor suggests staying on the basic plan. After that, Amanda notices she's sleeping more and hears an electronic ringing in her head. Suddenly, she blurts out an ad for Espresso Grande coffee. When Mike repeats the name, she's confused and doesn't remember saying it. In class, a student mentions honey, and Amanda suddenly launches into an ad for honey cereal, then gets confused again when the name is repeated. After the bell, Oscar says they're being evicted because his dad is angry all the time. Amanda starts giving sincere advice, then suddenly turns into an ad for a Christian family counseling website. That night, an intimate moment is interrupted when Amanda unknowingly delivers another ad. The next day, Gaynor says ads are part of the service's evolution, and opting out requires upgrading to Plus. At school, Amanda blurts out an ad for new shoes when she sees Eva's old ones. A coworker says Oscar's mom complained about the website Amanda recommended, and Amanda immediately spits out another ad in front of her. That night, Amanda says the school is going to fire her because of the ad interruptions. They admit that if she loses her job, they won't even afford the basic plan, and Mike says he'll handle it. That night, Mike locks himself in, puts on a mask, and joins Dumb Dummies to make money. The next day, while live on stream, he calls Gaynor to confirm the upgrade payment went through, then lies to his wife, saying the money came from overtime and promises her a Juniper trip. While washing a cup, he pours out a strange liquid from the stream. At school, Amanda tries to talk to Oscar, but he says his mom forbade him. Weeks later, Mike streams again and begs for money, agreeing to stick his tongue in a trap for $90 when he gets a late payment alert. He does it because his wife needs the money. Later, Gaynor explains that the sleeping is sleep mode to free processing power, with the basic plan requiring 16 hours of sleep. She introduces a new Rivermind Lux plan that boosts sensation and mood control, costing an extra $1,000. Amanda refuses, but Mike asks about temporary boosters. On their Juniper trip, he surprises her with a 12-hour Lux subscription. She enjoys everything intensely, while he suffers. Days later at work, he discovers Shane leaked his account and pinned a humiliating clip. During a fight, Shane falls and gets crushed by a forklift. Mike gets fired. They beg the company for help, but Gaynor says there's nothing she can do. Mike mentions the baby crib, and she says pregnancy requires an additional subscription fee. Furious, they leave. A year later, Mike sells the crib, missing a tooth. Amanda returns to the basic plan and sleeps 16 hours a day. On their anniversary, he gives her 30 minutes of Lux. During an ad, she asks him to end her life. He uses the final moments to confess his love, then suffocates her with a pillow until she dies. After that, Mike goes into another room with a cutter, and Dumb Dummies is live. And that's the end of today's movie. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to CineDigest for more amazing stories with Movie Recapped.